Okay, we have my three audience members and my cameraman. Can my cameraman turn the camera to the audience members?
Hmm. Audience members.
Right. Okay. Danielle and Francisco are 7 years old in the second grade and live in Newark, New Jersey. When Danielle grows up, she wants to be a model. She thinks that she can earn $505 a year. Francisco wants to be a spy. He figured he can earn $500,000 annually. It seems pretty funny how children are able to relate how much they want to make compared to what they want to be when they grow up. Kids usually have some type of idea of what they want to be when they grow up. They usually hear from TV, radio stations, they see their parents go to work day to day. They see role models. So it's natural, it's a natural instinct that children can relate what they want to be when they grow up from who they see. But at what point are the values of God instilled in a child so they can relate their career choice to God's values? Growing up, I said that I wanted to be a lawyer, a singer. I think I even said I wanted to be a dancer at some point. However, I never thought that the career choices that I thought about as a child would relate to what I would want to be when I grew up. In Forbes, in 2009, they published an article of what I want to be as a child. What is my dream job? A survey was done and it was polled at several hundred students, ages 5 and 12, in the metropolitan New York area. The results showed that kids think of interesting ways to eliminate and mundane realities of adult life. Like many surveyed dream jobs that don't exist. 7 out of 33 5-year-olds wanted to be Superman, which relates to wanting to be some type of hero when they grow up. They also wanted to be princesses. SpongeBob was also on the list. However, out of the 5 of 33 6-year-olds that were surveyed, they wanted to be firefighters, which according to the statistics compiled in the U.S. Department of Bureau, the labor showed that firefighters earn $44,130 annually. So we can see that children are actually relating what they want to be when they grow up, and they're actually thinking about their choices. Currently, I work in human resources. I'm an HR generalist. I don't think that I ever thought when I was a child that's what I wanted to be when I grow up. I just said I wanted to be a teacher, I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be whatever I wanted to be, but I didn't think of what I wanted to be as it relates to God's values for me until I got older. The dictionary defines human resources as a person, and especially a person and personnel, employed by a given company, institution, or like within the human resource department. That definition is very simple because there is much more that goes into the role of an HR generalist. Growing up, as I stated, I didn't want to be an HR generalist. I'm also the backup VP of HR. So I never really thought how important my role is today and how what I do actually affects what God has designed for me. As I watched TV, I saw things that I could relate to as a child. But you're not really knowledgeable until you actually grow up and you actually learn. In the Human Resource Department, I do a array of things. A Human Resource Generalist deals with all types of areas of human resources. Usually your HR personnel has specialized areas. You have your benefits person, you have compensation, you have recruiting, you have hiring. An HR Generalist deals with the legal aspects of HR. They deal with all the aspects that surround the Human Resource Department in general. Currently, I work for a Fortune 500 company with locations all around the U.S. as well as international. So my day-to-day tasks can be very lengthy. The role of an HR generalist individual steady evolves to fit the world of today. With advanced technology and continuous growing technologies of today, there are different roles of HR associates. First, you have an HR associate or administrative assistant. You have an HR specialist, an HR coordinator, an HR generalist, and an HR partner. You have an HR manager, a director, and a VP of HR, among others. but those are just your general basic roles and titles of HR. My role within HR generalist, is, and the backup of VP, my role consists of many duties. That is assisting policies and procedures, benefits administration, management of benefits, enrollment, new hires, terminations, unemployment claims, employee relation issues, payroll, and just to name a few. You can ask yourself, an HR generalist is very needed in the workforce today? And that answer would be definitely yes. But if I ask myself, what am I doing that actually affects God's path for me? I can actually say that I do that. I help individuals and employees day in and day out with varied issues that are not just related to my position. So I think when I think of God's values, as far as in honesty, peace, and all the values that God has instilled in humankind, I really think that I do those roles on a day-to-day basis. Why would my occupation as a human resource individual be important? Everybody feels that what they do is important, but if you actually sit there and think, is your position important, and is it relates to God's values? I can say yes. Being in a lead position of an HR generalist is just the beginning for me. I see my career, my path excelling to great lengths and great lengths as far as in what God has designed for me. Previously, a psychologist did a survey of how many employers or how many companies actually employ HR generalists. And there are various roles of HR, but majority of your companies do have HR generalist roles. There are challenges in anything you do today. The key is taking the time to properly learn your skill, develop it, and use it day in and day out. The HR department is the backbone of any organization. It is needed in any field that you go to, and you can rest assured that it is a stable field. However, there are smaller companies that outsource certain responsibilities of HR because it's just easier to manage. However, everything has to be initiated through HR. Always, everyone has to be trained to do something or some type of job. So especially with your federal laws changing of today, it's always important to have an HR representative on your side. And that concludes my speech.